Here we are, Carnival of Randomness, back on Get Mad Radio.
Get Mad.
And I've also started, pretty soon the Carnival is going to start doing cameos. You want us to wish you happy birthday, give you some life advice. Only $500, and if you want Greg to play, $600.
That's
and
right.
This is all going to funding of our used Goodyear blimp from Craigslist that I hope to find this year. When you see the Carnival blimp, get mad. But we're very thrilled to have our guest here, but he prefers to remain anonymous. But since Greg plays with him, that sounded gross.
I don't even know
in a band. In a band. Let Greg introduce him.
Hey, okay.
Sorry,
Well, we
Don.
have Professor Don Anonymous with us today. I played with him in the past with several bands, including Velveteen Fox and most recently Anonymous Willpower. And now we are playing together with Cupid's Boomerang.
I remember, I think I first met all of you, in Earl Cram Review, and then after I met Susie in Earl Cram Review, then you went on from there. And I remember Velveteen Fox.
The Cramster.
And I don't know what to think of. I was gifted, as we always get huge gifts here with a Vikings hat. I don't know if that means he wants me to channel Arthur Schopenhauer or something, but...
Say hello to the people, Don.
Well, thanks for having me on, Rob. Thank you, Greg, for the introduction.
Yes,
Appreciate
yes,
it.
sir.
Yes, Rob did mention the Vikings. I think the last time I was on, Greg was sick, right? That was the first
I
time
think
was
so.
on. This was a few years ago.
Yeah, you've been on before, but it was
Some people say I'm still
ago.
sick, but yeah.
But anyway, we talked a lot about the Vikings
Yeah.
because we're both Minnesota Viking fans, yeah.
Fun.
And I'm a Bills fan too. But they're perfect bedfellows. They're the only two teams that are 0-4 in the Super Bowl.
No lie. I passed by this house yesterday because I had to be out. I was out in Canandaigua. I went to see our friend Frank DeBlaze at the hospital. And on the way back, I took the back roads through Bloomfield. And there's somebody's house, and I'm not kidding you, man. They got the Bills logo painted on there. The whole house is painted in the red and blue, and it's like it's like a huge, just Bills madness in this person's house. So it's pretty. I should have stopped and took a picture.
But now getting to the crux of the topic, probably my favorite film of 2025 was Sinners. I just love that movie.
I've heard good things
and
about
I love
that.
you.
I know,
You
I
would
gotta
love
watch
it.
it.
I have not
But there's
seen
a
it yet.
quote that sticks with me, and I think it goes with your music very well. Where there's a blues man, he's just like it's 1932, and the other guy, there's these two brothers, played very well by Michael Jordan, and it goes, white folks love the music, they just don't like the people who make it. I thought that was perfect.
That's really true. That's always bugged me, is that how people have, kind of their prejudices, but you see all these bands playing soul music and basically, black oriented.
Well,
stuff,
isn't Sinners supposed to be
it's weird.
taking place in the past, right?
1932.
Okay,
but
right.
it's-
That makes sense
Watch
for
the
that
movie,
period
you'll
of time,
see
yeah.
a little.
Yeah, but even now that happens. I mean, I don't want to name, but I'm just saying a lot of these, bands, they want to play all this music, but yet, but
I didn't
yet
mean
they
to
have
get
their
that
prejudices.
deep, Greg. I just like the quote, as a reference. I appreciate it, though. But
What's that?
I wonder, how did you? What drew you to? And I've always called Anonymous and all that stuff sort of like voodoo funk. I think I stole that from Susie, maybe.
Right, yeah, somebody came
Or
up with
voodoo,
that.
because
that
I
voodoo
really
thing.
hate labeling anymore. I usually just go, well, it's good music, go listen.
Well, yeah, I guess there's a difference between a label and a description. Descriptions are helpful, and sometimes you have to use what commonly are referred to as labels to get the point across. But I've always loved New Orleans music, and that's broader than some label, I think, because you have to think. Specifically, I'm more into you think jazz, of course, but with me, it's more like Fats Domino, Professor Longhair. It's guys that played R&B in the 1950s and came up with different approaches, usually Caribbean influenced, and meshing that with rock. And maybe we could play a tune soon that Greg plays on. It's called Elvis Presley
You'll
Blues.
probably play that at the
I
ads.
can give you a description of that one.
Well, you can give
how
me a
that one was
description before,
approached.
too.
But I'm all over the place with what I do.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm glad you said Professor Don Anonymous, because I used to go just by Don Anonymous, but I added the Professor because there's a rapper in Brooklyn, who I think he's from. He's on Bandcamp too, and he's Don Anonymous. And sometimes I get, you know, how in digital world now, and that's something I'd like to talk about too.
Oh,
how you get those little thumbnail. That's another thing. It takes a lot of work to promote nowadays because you have to do it on so many aspects, that both the analog and the digital. And you get those little thumbnail pictures now that you got to put with everything. Anything online that you put on has to have a little picture. You know, a little thumbnail visual, either the album cover, but a lot of people just do singles now. So you almost got a picture for every song you've recorded now.
Right. Yep.
You know, and that goes to the ICR code or whatever they call that code.
I enjoy your style because it is diversified.
But anyway,
I like it.
Yeah, this Don Anonymous, not to get off of that, but his thumbnail sometimes shows up on my iTunes.
Oh, really?
For my music.
Interesting.
Because we're both Don Anonymous. So now for this is my first release as Professor Don Anonymous.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see, I thought it might be like a homage to like Professor Long.
Well, that's where it was. That's how I came up with. I was separate for a while because when I would play my original music, I would go as Don Anonymous, and I put out a couple CDs, and Greg's on a few of those too, in the aughts and. What was my last one was 2006, I think. Wow. I put out a couple CDs as Don Anonymous. But then when I started getting better at the New Orleans music and started playing that out, the Dr. John stuff, I did a cover CD as Professor Anonymous. So now, as you see what I've done now, and not to get confused with the rapper Don Anonymous, I call myself Professor Don Anonymous. I've meshed those two things, the original music along with the New Orleans stuff. And it just sounds like somebody's completely changing the channel if you listen to one of my CDs, because I'm all over the place.
The degrees keep coming.
And that's just the way I am. It's not good for promoting, and it's not good for people remembering, associating people with a style. But I'm not a jazz player, but I've got a couple jazz pieces.
You got all that, folks? There's going to be a test later.
That's actually a really good topic in these modern days, because I try to tell a lot of my friends, I think very talented, they go, I don't like doing it either, but you have to promote, and there's so many different, and I think the problem really goes now, I found this at home even, so I'm home, it's horrible out, I want to watch something. You know, before it's like, okay, 3, my music collection, comic books, 3 channels. Now I have, okay, do I want to watch this? It's like the idea of too many choices where they overwhelm you.
Yeah, and it's difficult for us, too, because we're all old enough to grow up in the analog world. You know, it's like a different reality now. Everything's just not thought of the same way and done the same way.
But yet people are trying hard to reproduce that style because it's kind of like a niche thing, a niche thing. You know what I mean? Like I have to laugh sometimes, like even like on some of these programs that when you're working on computers and sound mixing, they'll have pictures of big knobs like the old days, like old amplifier looking.
I like knobs.
Yeah. But I think it's funny that. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter, Tom.
I know those old boards, too, you're talking about. Everything's so hands-on, and it's, like, obvious. It's so tactile. Now you get, like, a mixer, and it's great, and it's very condensed and stuff, but the channels are so small, you have to, like, you look at a magnifying glass to figure out what freaking... that's a sort of engineer talk, I guess. But
that's the way it's like trying to get noticed amongst almost like there's this huge pile of so much... So you got to get your name out there and don't feel like, oh, well, this person's all full of himself. No, he's got a work to promote, and nobody's going to just say, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, you got to do it all yourself these days. There's no record company to help anymore. It's all it's all you. It's all on you. So, my one little middle finger putting this album out, and I know it's like, in the long run, it's probably hurting me more than anything else, but it's not on Spotify. I intentionally put it on every other streaming service so you can get Professor Don Anonymous, My Humble Vanity Project, but it's not on Spotify, and that's my little finger to Spotify. Not that if they weren't as successful as they are, somebody else wouldn't take their place, but considering how successful they are, how they are worth literally billions and trillions of dollars. They are worth trillions of dollars.
Wow.
Spotify. And if you look at their the way they run their business, it's like an X, meaning the take one line as how much they pay out to the artists that they play, that they take over and how much profit they've made, the profit goes up, and what they pay the artist has gone down as their profits have gone up.
I think it was like 9 cents a song before. I don't even want to know.
It's gotten less. It's actually gotten less, and people don't care. They will just use the service because it's convenient.
It's become like the modern, Netflixy sort of.
And another thing about Spotify too. I mean, they pay a guy like Joe Rogan billions, millions, at least tens of millions of dollars to have a show in which he spouts off on anything that he's learned about the last 10 minutes ago. And he's the most successful guy. We're going to pay this guy billion. Meanwhile, our whole platform of how we built our business is on musicians, and we're just going to keep screwing them.
Well, I guess for me, I always used to call it junk food. Well, I used to love to listen to Coast AM or read the Weekly World News, but I knew it was all bullshit. And that's the difference. It was my entertainment, but you knew it was all nonsense. But people who listen to that stuff don't realize it. That's the problem.
You know who's got a great voice in that realm is that Joe Pax guy. He has such a cool voice.
Who's Jesse? I don't even
he's
know
like
that.
He was like a guy.
He was like a
conservative
talk
guy. He's like a conservative talk guy. But it's just he just
is
has
this
the
podcast or
voice.
radio? Podcast or radio?
It's radio.
Radio or something.
I can't even tell the difference these days now.
No, I can't either. It's like we're on the radio or on the podcast. Yeah. But, this is a question that I don't think, unfortunately, there's no answer. What's the best way to support you guys and musicians? Because it seems like you get all these things screw you over.
Let's put it this way. I think, that's another thing about the generational thing and the analog to digital thing. The business as we knew it when we were growing up is gone. It's totally different. It's totally changed, and a lot of that started with the file sharing stuff that went on late '90s and early 2000s, and then when the streamings came up, they set the bar really low. They only charged $1 a track, which was great because nobody was going to pay for it expensive anyways. Because then they would just use the steal it from file sharing.
Right.
So people were all right. Oh, well, it's okay to pay $1 for a track. Nobody was thinking about the artist. It was just all about how could we move music that people will actually buy it again.
It's become more of a personal. Everybody has their personal little files, and they just throw it on and play it as background music or make their playlist. And they don't. Yeah, you're right. They don't think about actually. It's like back in the old days when we used to make cassettes of things. It's like you're ripping the music off.
So basically, overall, the business is kind of dead unless it's yours, like superstars or something, and it's all about playing live.
That's where the money is.
And come on, come clean, everybody. I did it too. Who ripped off Columbia House in the day?
Oh yeah.
I know it's so bad for me, for my artistic sensibility, because I love studios. I love songwriting. I'm almost like that guy, Neil Schmism. Who am I thinking of? You know what I'm talking about.
Commodore Schmidlap?
No. The guy from the 70s, he wrote... he did I Can't Live If Living Without You. He did Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, Nilsson?
Midnight Cowboy. Nielsen.
Harry Nilsson.
Harry Nilsson.
He never toured.
Yes.
He's just like, I read more about him.
Exactly. I'm like a Harry Nilsson kind of guy. He hated playing out live. He would never have a career now if he was alive nowadays, I don't think.
Right.
Because he just wouldn't be able to survive that way, just from studio stuff and just from songwriting and associations.
I mean,
he wouldn't be able to have the career he had nowadays.
In a way, that's good. It's brought touring back to a nice, healthy level. But now a lot of these bands, like you say, they're forced to tour. Like you get a band like Cheap Trick or bands... Whatever. A lot of the older bands, it's like everybody's reforming and doing this and doing. They have to get out there and play live.
It's not hurting the old music because now you have all tribute bands playing that stuff live, and guess what? People actually like that. It's not like when we were growing up, where we think, "Oh, that's the band's just imitating somebody that's famous," but people actually like hearing the music played live.
Right.
Rather than hearing a recording.
It's become a huge thing.
So they'll accept a cover band.
Well, for a while I got into this. It was just like, because I'm very okay, if I say I see friends and I try to make time, that might mean once or twice a year. But there was a band called Crazy Train. They were out of Kentucky, but they were an Ozzy band. But it was a thing where a bunch of my school friends, we would go. And now you're paying what? Not even $10? And they were really good. And that's the thing. And you could get into that. They would play that and Sabbath.
Oh, there's always
Right.
been tribute bands, but it seems nowadays they're I think they're more successful than they used to be. It's
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you could see a Pink Floyd cover band on like major television network.
I
now.
remember in our day, because one thing
Yeah.
I always would do is go through the free time, and there'd be all those lists of, like, the Back Doors or Over the Garden Wall.
Yeah, I remember the Back
All
Doors.
those.
Right,
But
yep.
yeah, but I mean, in the day, too, I would go, I remember we had a fit because Rush played, was the Hold Your Fire tour. The tickets went up to $17 at the War Memorial.
Yeah. Oh,
I was-
they're raping
I
us.
was- I was
$70.
furious.
Now you can't get a ticket for
I was
anything.
like, I think it was
that's
like
under
Rainbow
100.
Ride and Scorpions was either $8.50 or $10.50.
They didn't need a lot of insurance back then.
Well, you've done a great job with production as well because you've
Yeah,
done.
I mean,
a
I
lot
grew
of
up
our
as a
bands.
producer. I would say my first instrument, I'm a late bloomer when it comes to music because I didn't even pick up the piano seriously till I was about 30.
They're pretty heavy.
Did you do a lot of weight training?
I
You
know.
were asking for
Crazy.
that one.
Yeah, I was. I'm a glutton for punishment. I really am. My first instrument was really a tape recorder. I mean, it was a 2-track reel-to-reel tape recorder. You know, you can... I would just record my friends or anything I can come up with that sounded musical. I was more into writing, too, so I would just start putting that, to poetry and stuff. And then, I discovered I could sing, so that led me to be a lead singer.
You know what I used to do when I was in college days, and I used to drag. This is weird. I used to drag a reel-to-reel to clubs, and I used to ask the band, "Hey, can I record you?" And I would just set up a couple of mics, and I still have the tapes. I got a couple bands from like Fantasy Swings, and I've got. It's interesting because those would be lost now.
Yeah, the big analog back in the 80s, it was that Fostex 4-track, the cassette,
Yep.
which really blew everything open. And I had that when it first came out, and I was recording at my buddy's high school band, who's also still plays out locally. Jamie
Bounce, bounce,
Jamie
bounce.
Costco.
Well, I
You know,
had,
the
I
shoots.
remember one of the teachers that she taught the music class, she played something she did, and she did the double track for, like, this one
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
She's playing guitar and, like, doing background, then she's singing. But they always say, like, about foreign languages, and that's, like, one of my Achilles' heels, is either you can pick it up good early or late. I think it makes a difference learning to play an instrument later or earlier.
It's different. I see. The first lesson I had was not good. It was I had taken voice lessons at Hochstein, and that's a great school, and
Love
my
Hochstein.
voice lessons were great. But then when I took a piano lesson there, the same teacher was teaching kids, and she tried to take the same approach to teaching me. And I didn't. I
want a lollipop?
didn't take to it. Yeah. I felt a little intimidated that a 6-year-old could play better than me. That makes sense. So, it wasn't until Charles Jaffe, I became friends with Charles Jaffe, the keyboardist from Colorblind James Experience in the 90s, and started taking lessons from him. Totally different approach. He would basically just let me record him and just play for me. And then he would get in conceptual things, occasionally.
He was great.
But-
He was so.
Yeah, I have those moments with,
And
like,
that totally worked. Yeah.
I have my moments from, like, my RPO friends. Like, well, when did you start? Oh, 3.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even touch a piano till I was in school, and that was like I was already 20-something. I really started late. I had never even played a piano.
But you can't turn a piano
it's hard.
into a fish, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I realize how
But
tough
how did
it
you
is.
feel, like, getting into, like, when you were playing, like, on stage? Did you have any, like, was live? Did you get the feel for live? You sound like really, and I could see being more like this too. Like, just I want to be in the studio doing all this stuff.
Well, it's two different animals.
Well,
for sure.
it is. There is a live bug. There's something about performing that gets your endorphins going and does something to your ego, and it's something that does get addictive.
You know what,
And
I was-
you
I
do
was-
learn to really
I was
like
just out for
strive to-
coffee with a friend of mine who's in a local band. God, how do I know all these drummers? She's a drummer too. Please me, help me.
Because we're desperate for friends. I don't know.
But we were talking about, because I was talking about the local music scene. To me, I saw a bit of a change since 2020, a little bit. It's like some of the audiences and stuff. And she said still, and I think this makes sense, still nobody's going to get the same experience of seeing live music. And I think that holds.
Well, people like to go out, and I think, after the COVID thing finally ran its course, people started going out again, and I just think it seems like people go out more than they used to. I mean, all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
and now it seems like live music is back more than ever. Like me and Greg, we played the Dinosaur like a lot in the last decade. We were regulars there from like
I was at
2015,
of those shows
2015 to
all the time.
2020, and then the pandemic comes along and they get rid of music.
Yeah.
And they don't even bring it back until 2 years after the pandemic.
Wow.
And
yeah.
but guess what? We just played Dinosaur again 2 days ago.
I was there all
so
those shows.
It
I
seems
used to
like
love
we're
those
back,
shows.
yeah.
And they were always like raucous shows.
And with this Cupid's Boomerang, I played out more this year than I have since 2014.
How did that?
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit like as we always segue around and then get back to your CD. How did Cupid's Boomerang come about?
I think it's John Payton's the connection there.
Who thought of the name too? Which
Oh, that's Jeff Galino, the guitarist. Yeah. He
I like
came
the
up with that
name.
I
It's
like that name, too.
Yeah, we were just, it's
First
like,
time I heard I was like, huh, interesting. Kind of cliche, but
yeah.
also not, because
kinda
I've
stays
never
with you.
heard it
No,
before.
see, to me, a
Yeah.
cliche would be like Cupid's
Yeah.
arrow.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of half cliche.
But it's like a
sort of-
boomerang because it
yeah.
comes back to you.
Exactly. It makes complete sense.
And I always say my big thing, my only endorsement about for a band name is get something that looks good on a shirt.
Right,
That's the only
right.
thing I always say
and
I like
arrows
with
and hearts and boomerangs.
You got
they
tons
all
of
like,
stuff with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's
and it's
great.
an action verb type of thing.
Yeah.
You picture something flying around, a boomerang, and we, it was just like any other band. We were sitting around coming up with names, and we just
Yeah.
threw a lot of shit around.
To get
and
back to your
finally-
original question, it was John Payton, and he played drums along with Greg in Anonymous Willpower. It would either be Greg or John, or sometimes Greg and John.
Right,
We did
yeah.
a Dinosaur gig for your, what was it, your birthday?
Yep.
And
I
which we
played
had both
congas and stuff.
John and Greg played. Anyway, John played with this guy, Greg Galino, in a band called I always get their name. I can't see Centenary Road.
And I
It
tried
was
that one.
kind of like a reggae rock band. They had that guy Paul, Julie.
You're perfect for this show.
The brother,
'cause I forget names
the
all
Paul
the time.
Brown, the brother of the Julie Brown, who used to be on MTV.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, he was a really good singer who had a reggae style, and so they meshed the rock with the reggae. So John had been in both those bands.
And you
So when
put, like-
Jeff asked John just last year, well, it was 2 years ago, now close to 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, if he knew anybody that would play with him because he wanted to start a band back up again, John, who has also started his own band, John Payton Project, said, why don't you ask Susie and Don, send them your guitar stuff. So he sent us some of his guitar
all your
tracks and,
gigs I've seen, the one that still sticks with me, for whatever reason, I don't know if Greg played or John, it was that Fringe Fest gig in the alleyway. And I don't know
Oh,
Yeah,
why-
that was great.
I was there, yeah.
that was a good one. Yep.
Yeah.
But I would love, go to
Yeah.
a Cupid's
Oh
Boomerang
no,
show.
Greg's cousin just shot video of that.
Yep, it's
that was
still up
early
there.
Anonymous Power
Yeah, because I
2012.
remember that. It was like the first year
and
of Fringe Fest.
it's been on YouTube so long, it's got our most views. It's over, it's into the K's, which is like an amazing thing, but really not.
Yeah.
No, I've seen one
Compared to all the other
I-
videos,
no, but
yeah,
I've
it's
also
amazing.
known,
That got over
honestly,
1,000.
I used to deal with on another thing I used to do with people would have over 1 million views on their things. They'd be asking for money because they
Right,
still want.
yeah.
But I would love to do. I have a perfect idea for a Cupid's
Your
Boomerang.
cat video will get
Yeah.
more
No kidding,
million
yeah.
A
views
fan in
than
the
your
audience
band
throws a
video.
boomerang. It goes around, hits Greg on the
Yeah.
back of the head.
Boing.
But anyway, there is a good
Oi.
excerpt from that show on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's Anonymous
And
Willpower.
what would you
Runaway.
call? Again, I've used the Voodoo Soul thing. What would you call Cupid's Boomerang? I sort of get I don't know, rhythm and beauty,
Yeah,
soul.
it's not as soulful. We didn't go for the soul sound as much as we did for Anonymous Willpower because it's based more around Jeff's playing. And Jeff's playing is very rooted in rock, particularly 70s rock. He's a big fan of Neil Young. It's just a lot of straightforward kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
Greg,
I mean,
you
the
were
other
saying?
night at Dinosaur, I heard somebody, as I was packing up or something, I heard somebody talking to one of the other band members, and I heard Rage Against the Machine mentioned.
Interesting.
That's what it reminded us. That style, came to their mind when they listened.
You know
to
what
us.
I get though? One of the things I found, I haven't heard this about Susie yet. I've heard it for a lot. I'll hear, she sounds like Stevie Nicks for a lot of friends of mine. And I'm going, I don't,
What?
No, not Susie, but a lot of people I know. And I'll go, I don't hear it, but you know what it is, but like say even Susie, somebody's going to the show.
Well, you're saying that somebody told you.
No, that a lot of friends I've seen, like a lot of female music singers, they
Oh,
sound like Stevie Nicks, but not
that
Susie,
particular
though.
type of
Yeah.
style is
No, but
coming
the
back.
sound,
Okay.
they sound vocally, and I go, no, they don't.
Well,
And I'll
Stevie
go,
Nicks is all about that
but you know what
vibrato.
I think it is? But what
Yeah.
I think it
Right.
is more is it's not that they do, but it's in their head what they listen to. So that's the only comparison they can make. Like
Yeah.
I've heard a friend,
Could be.
Like I've heard a friend saying, I go, you have to listen to Jolie Holland because this sounds a lot like Jolie Holland. But see, that's because I listen to Jolie Holland. I think we always try to do that in our brains. But no, I haven't heard Susie being compared to Stevie Nicks. Maybe.
Susie would like that. Susie complains about Stevie Nicks sometimes. I like Stevie Nicks. But that vibrato is very distinctive.
No, I've been
Yeah.
ruined. I've been ruined because one of my good friends, the good old Baron, said she sounds like a bleeding sheep, and I can't.
Right,
get it
exactly.
out of my- I can't
That's
get it out
that
of my head.
vibrato
No, but
aspect.
also I always like to hear.
Some people don't like Aaron Neville because of that too, and I love Aaron.
No, but I
Neville.
always have that. That's another really not an argument, but sometimes, I remember I would pick my mom up from Euchre, and I'd be playing Tom Waits. He's like, "What?"
Yeah, Tom Waits.
And my dad, then I play Tom Waits. You playing the Cookie Monster? Stuff
Well, did you see that the Buckingham Nicks album is kind of making a resurgence
It
now?
is, yeah.
That's I
See,
have
I
yet
think
to
that
hear
has
it,
a lot to do with all these tribute bands.
Yeah.
But I think
That
also I
should
like
be
the
a-
reaction because our friend Dan Zaya, you love him if you ever met him. He's seen you play, and he just can't say enough good things about you.
Oh, well, thank you. Who's that?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a good. He plays in the band The Thigh Masters, and he came to
Oh,
one of your
okay.
shows because he tries to go out. It's like
Yeah.
he said he was going about social. He has some other songs too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think he was at one of our earlier gigs, like the Abilene. And
I like
things
the
like that.
feedback on stuff. It's cool getting feedback like that.
Yeah, Dan's a great guy too. He's a disability lawyer.
Okay. Well, for my, I got a new member for my Professor Don Anonymous shows that I'm doing for my CD, and he's not on the CD because I didn't even know him when I recorded these songs, but I have a guitar player. His name's Andy Kadarian, and he has played with the Thigh Masters. So it's an interesting...
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's
Andy
cool.
has played with the Thigh
Oh,
Masters.
yeah, nice.
So Andy will be joining me and Greg on the 30th at a Record Archive for my first CD release party.
Yay!
Yeah, you have a streamer
And,
release
and so
party for this.
I needed to go. See, usually when we do the New Orleans stuff, I just get the sax player, Danny Mark. But I needed a guitar player this time because I'm playing stuff from my CD, and there's a lot of guitar on the CD for my
I really
originals.
like the way
I
you
like
play
guitar
too.
on my originals, so I needed to find a guitar player, and I got lucky with Andy because I was doing a job as a window cleaner in my business, and he was at a house where he works, but it's like a in-home thing because he takes care of a kid that has Down syndrome there. It's the kind of work he does. He takes care of handicapped people.
Oh, wow.
So he was downstairs jamming while I was cleaning the windows. And I'm like, this guy sounds pretty decent.
Yeah, right?
And I said, he'd be interested in checking out my stuff. And he said, sure. And sent it to him. And he learned it. And now he's playing with me.
See, I always owe
Nice
Phil
guy, too.
Marshall a bit of a debt because he would come over and play for my dad when my dad was around.
Oh, yes, Phil's
And
great.
the thing was, the song would sound good until my dad broke into the singing, and I was telling Phil, "We have an album here."
Yes, awesome.
But it's
I think
amazing how
Phil's great. I'm sure he loved it.
well, it's amazing how music does to people because my dad, especially the last year, was horrible, but they still remember those old songs and stuff.
Phil Marshall, another Colin Bly James experience person.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Can't say enough
Jimmy,
about it.
too, I think.
Yeah, Jimmy Mack's great,
Yeah, my
too.
old Guinness drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy Mac's awesome. He always looks the same, too. He always looks like he's very relaxed, and he's just all hippied out. I
That
love
band
that
should
guy.
be in the Rochester Music Hall of Fame. Andy, are you hearing this? Colin Bly James experience.
But the other thing, too, is
Oh, he's nothing to do with it. Okay, he just plays for him. He just works for him.
Tell Jerry Falzone and Steve Fetter.
I know. Another one who's on the wall here is Ralph Ortiz.
Yeah.
Should definitely be
another
there,
thing
too.
I like about New Orleans, I don't know if you get this feeling too, Quebec and New Orleans are like a slice of Europe on this continent. And I think there's a bit of a vibe to the music like that too.
Well, percussion-wise, I
It's
know
the
getting
temperature
that.
difference that people can't get.
See, I don't know. I went to Fisher. I went to Fisher. I wanted to do archival studies, and one of the places I got into was University of New Orleans. And number one, I said, the way I was at that age, me in New Orleans full time,
Yeah, sure.
forget that. I'd be like one of these guys now. Here, you spare $1. But the other thing was the temperature would just be nice place to visit, but being in there like when it was really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, humidity can get to you after a while. It was getting to me. I was in Florida last summer, and the humidity got to me.
And it's
too.
above sea level, too.
It's interesting about New
Or is
Orleans
it
compared to
below?
Quebec, it's like you were bringing up. There are totally different type of patois, too, though.
Yeah.
Even though it's French, it's different. It's definitely different.
And I always love like stuff like Marie Laveau, and of course I love all the haunted history and everything too. So how did you go about how do you go about writing? How did you go about the writing process for this CD?
Well, I'm always writing. So some of these songs go back a while, but some of them are more recent too. One of them I did record on one of my earlier records. So it goes back to the 1990s when I was living in Baltimore. A couple of these tunes go back to
I
the
lived
1990s.
in Alexandria.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Oh,
Used to
okay.
go to the crab bars all the time.
Yeah.
Thing got me was
Crab Time.
the big mallets.
Yeah. I liked Baltimore. It had a lot of character. I would have stayed, but I would have had to move into a neighborhood by myself that was a little intimidating.
Did you ever see?
That's
what
why I
call-
kind of gawk when people complain about the crime.
Did you
in
ever see
Rochester.
the rats?
No, it's it's the row houses. So behind there, it's the cockroaches that come out at night.
No, I had the
Wow.
one.
Yeah.
I had
Lots
the
of
one.
them. Wow.
I'm walking through. This is fitting. I'm walking through like DC. I call them the DC rats. These weren't
Yeah.
the politicians.
Yeah, DC.
I'm walking.
Ha!
I'm walking. And this thing runs through between my legs. And I go, "Wow, it's a big cat." And look, it's a rat.
Wow.
Now, one of my stupid friends throws a bottle at it. Look, we went flying.
Yeah.
It picked up the bottle and threw it back. It was
Anyway,
so
so I was in Baltimore for like a year. I was there when Cal Ripken broke the record at Camden Yards. I was hanging out outside. I didn't have a ticket because those tickets were gone. Everybody knew what day it was going to be when he broke that Iron Man record. But anyway, a couple songs are like, one's called Pigtown, which is actually a neighborhood, a section of Baltimore. There's other stuff on here that I wrote that like it's from If Everybody Wrote the Same Song in Rochester.
I remember those, yeah.
That went on recently within the last 5 years. One's called What Did I Miss? That was one of their prompts. Another one is called That's Where I'll Be, which is kind of a garage rock thing. So I'm all over the place
See,
here.
that's what I mean.
I've got other stuff, more recent stuff that you could only call it alternative songwriter stuff. It's not even a style. It's just completely original. Like the first one, You Can't Send It Back. Lead Belly Lament is the one collaboration I have with some friends that's completely the time signature is like it's like an 11/8 for most of it. It's very unique. It has almost like an Allman Brothers feel. And then there's Straight Ahead Jazz that Greg plays with me on. We do a version of Monk's Ugly Beauty, which is a great title, and it's almost kind of the theme for this, because then I have another original called Vanity. I also have a Charlie Parker thing, but it's not standard jazz at all like our version of Ugly Beauty. It is like a bunch of hip-hop loops that I took and played a Charlie Parker piece over that Jaffe had helped me learn from a transcription. So it's all over the place musically.
But that's cool. See, I like the way you mix genres.
I also
that.
like the title because to me, in a way, that's self-depreciating.
yeah.
See, to me, that would be because that's like my little.
I pride
shtick.
myself on my titles a little bit. Like our first Anonymous Willpower CD, and Scott Regan, the DJ, got a kick out of the title, was called No Obligation Information Kit.
Right, that was
our
that was
first.
great.
That was a mouthful. It was from watching too much daytime TV, probably, right?
I know. How do you feel?
Then we had Trailer Romance, which was based on a song that Greg wrote.
How do you feel too? There's a story that goes that Steve Ditko, Stan Lee wanted to ask Steve Ditko about doing one more Spider-Man story, and Ditko, despite all the problems, was like, "Oh, when do you need me?" But he mentioned Spider-Man. He goes, "I can't do Spider-Man anymore. I mean, I just don't feel it." How do you feel revisiting some of your older songs? How do they feel to you now?
Oh, some I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I mean, others I still love. I mean, it's all. I don't know. It's a mystery.
See, to me, it's like
what resonates. I don't know.
I always try to think about that a few ways too. That I think about parts of my life, and I go, "This was me. It's not me anymore." It's like I might be writing about something that happened years ago, and it's like I can't really relate to that.
Well, I
person
get it.
anymore.
And a lot of these restless artist geniuses are all like,
Well,
I
right here.
want my stuff. I want to keep going and writing and keep pushing ahead and new. Everything's new and original and blah 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 blah. And I get it, but, I can't,
But sometimes
It's
you
like-
find old songs, you find bits of the old songs that still make sense.
Oh, yeah, you might
And then you
reassemble something,
Yeah, and then you kind of Frankenstein.
Well, like I said,
it,
one
you know.
tune on here is a re-recording of a song that I wrote while in Baltimore that I think lyrically is one of my best things. It's kind of a theological theme to it. It's called Close Company, kind of a song about the relationship between God and the devil, the fact that they're opposite, but they couldn't exist without each other, So it's
Right.
like the opposites need to attract in certain ways. That's what that tune is about. And I did a version for an earlier CD that I did in like 2003 that was just straight drums and stuff. But this one I used sort of some Apple loops, Scottish percussion. And it's a march, so it has some of those.
That's always
Scottish percussion
I'm always.
and a
Right.
banjo. The melody was conceived on a banjo.
It's always I'm
Yeah.
fascinated by that stuff because I grew up and my brother was in a band like in the '70s and stuff. And I remember I would call it. And it wasn't being condescending, but I would hear some recordings. You would say this sounds local. Because just like with the technology, so now it's like Brave New World in terms of some of these like recordings and everything. It's amazing what you can do. And I think, when you have the talent and you're putting this forward, you can really get your best stuff out.
Yeah. And I always find, like, with Don's music, with the New Orleans stuff, it's a challenge, at least for me, because you have that second line, what they call the second line groove, the marching type of thing back in the day that they do in New Orleans. And it's a different groove. It's like more like a 1 and 3. It's different than your straight rock or funk approach. It's a whole different bag of tricks. So
I've been
like
getting
doing
in I just finished a book about Leonard Cohen.
Yeah,
And one of the things that struck me, you talked about touring. He had a tour the last time because his manager stole all his money. While he was up, when he was
That's
at
the same
monastery.
old story.
Yeah,
I just
no
saw
kidding.
something about Eric Burden on YouTube. Same story. Their
Sign-
animals manager
There was this
stole all
thing.
their money.
There's this one sign in the book.
Hendrix's manager.
Well, his manager came down. Oh, sign this while he's at the monastery, and then all his money was gone.
Yeah.
But the thing with him too is he didn't really like to tour. But the other part I was thinking about music. I call it musician speak because he would have a problem in the studio because he played some guitar, but he really didn't come from a musician. And what he would say would be like, "Okay, we're playing a song. Okay, how do you want it? Can you make it a little grayer?" So I think there's like some interesting, like when you're a non-musician playing with musicians like that. But fascinating book. And
Well, I've had some weird direction in my time. I remember one guy, we were working at a band and working on his songs, and he said, play this like you're ice skating. And then I thought, what the hell?
That's a great. I love that. I love those little musical metaphors.
Yeah, and then I thought about it. Okay, ice skating, you're gliding, you're on the, you're not digging into the ice, you're on top of. So I played it light and kind of on top of the beat, and that's what he wanted.
I saw a great interview with like Wayne Shorter recently. You know who I'm talking about, the sax
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
But, he was asked about Miles Davis's music, and he said, Miles Davis, think of like a stone skipping across the water.
Right.
That's the way he described
Now,
playing with Miles.
Now, another way I found out about that, I guess, like one of the things they'd say in the studio when you were trying to do like a rock tune is someone would say, make it more Exile. Like Exile on Main Street.
Oh, well, that's more specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people talk about that, too. And that's great, too. Yeah.
But I always think
That's-
I've developed a lot more cynicism about music and the business because I know the business is more and more. But something I was reading recently about a lot of Laurel Canyon bands is, a lot of the stuff you heard in the 60s, it was session musicians.
Right.
It was a little bit fake. And I always like to use this is what I attribute, even to Greg, but Greg too, I guess. There's a saying by the pro wrestler Johnny Valentine, you might think wrestling's fake, but you believe I'm real. Terry Funk has said that too. I think you both make it real. There's no fake stuff. Well, I don't know about him, but...
Well, I mean, you have to really enjoy playing at this point in the way things
I know.
are.
With all
I
the
mean,
success we've had.
Well, no, again, I think
you gotta
you're
like
seeing-
doing it.
When
Yeah.
you're playing, I remember like
That
the one,
second house in Malibu.
like the one. Well, Greg was just in the Caribbean. That's why we need the new Goodyear blimp. He crashed
Yeah, I
our old
wish.
one. But I think the idea is, and I've said this, and actually, I think Susie said this too. I've seen like when you play, there might be like 100 people. There might be 3. You're playing like you're playing in front of like a stadium.
Yeah, it's just playing in front of anybody is enjoyable
And
because you have to like appreciate the fact that somebody's sitting there listening to you.
And that's what I'm about listening.
It doesn't matter how many people.
But and
there are.
I feel like a jerk because I'm going. If I had one of the royalties coming from this, if I'll have my own music hall, I'll just have me.
Well,
I'll be there clap because I've had like some shows hit and miss where I'll give a friend. It'll be just me, maybe one person, and I like that better. He's like, Rob, what do you want to hear? But the way they have the enthusiasm, and I think
Nobody likes a performer who pouts on stage.
but I still think
Right.
there's something about local music. Well, yeah, if you're going to see like Joy Division, or like
Well, the thing with playing
well, that's a
live
different
too,
aesthetic entirely. But yeah,
when you're playing live and then people react, and then that energy comes back to you, and then that increases your exuberance. You play a little better. They keep feeding back. It's kind of like a circle, and that's the fun part of
but I
playing
see like
live.
with all your shows too. One of the things I'll see is I come to hear the music. Now you got to realize, like a lot of times people are playing your background noise to imbibing, but you're a listening band. People listen. I don't dance because I'm a miserable human being, but people get up and dance and they have fun.
And that's fun too, because at least for me, I know if people start dancing, then I feel like I'm doing my job. I'm getting them up out of their seat, and then you kind of feel good about that. And it's like you're performing a service. You're making their lives a little more fun.
You don't realize they got bit by a bug and they're trying to itch it off. Now you have tons of CD releases. You're going to free the CDs up.
yeah. First one is January 30th, Record Archive, and those shows usually start early around 4, but probably 5 more realistically, 5 to 7. But doors try to get there by 4. And then we've got in February, Skylark, the old offshoot of the Bug Jar there on Union. They're always very nice to me. In fact, I have a photo from Skylark on the cover of my CD is from Skylark.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
In 2015. Anyway, that's on February 19th, and I believe that is a Thursday evening. And that's probably a little later, probably about 8 o'clock.
They're always a little later there.
But not too much later, really, because they say 8 o'clock. I thought it was going to be later, but it's 8 o'clock.
But
anyway,
always as I go on my tangents. But the first time I ever went to the Bug Jar, it said 9 o'clock.
Oh, the Bug Jar.
So I'm going.
These
are in
totally
the old
different,
days. It's better now.
It was even later.
I show up like at 9, and there's nobody there.
Soundman's not even there.
Soundman, Jay Grimy, where are you? I go in there.
there.
I'm walking around. It clearly states 9. So then I ask like Bobby, about 9:30. Midnight's rolling around. And the first band.
Yeah, that's
Really?
the Bug Jar.
Wow.
So I
holy
finally
crap.
realized that. But carry on.
Anyway, yeah, Bug Jar is like that. Lux is kind of like that now. They're one of those later starters.
Yeah,
now.
we did 10 to 1 the other week.
Yeah, they're
Fridays.
too late for
But
me
they only
right
do
now.
Friday nights, so. But Lux is great because they pay.
Why would I
they
think
pay
I'd
really
ever
nice.
say that now? But that is literally too late for me.
They make sure every penny that goes through that door goes to the performer on Friday nights. That's a good thing to do for clubs.
Yeah, they're great like that.
But they
They're
only
very,
do
very good
one
to
night
people.
a week, so it's your booking probably takes about a year there. Anyway, but then in March, and this will probably be my favorite one. I'll kick off the last one with Abilene Happy Hour on a Friday, March 6th. And that's also Happy Hour in Abilene is like 4 to 5 to 7, something like that too.
No, that's really cool. Now,
So,
obviously, I think it's a good.
And love playing Abilene because a lot of people I know go to Abilene.
And he's
So I
really
know I
good
can
to
pull people in
musicians.
Abilene.
He's very good with musicians.
I've had like the joke with Danny recently because they got like some new buildings over there. They go, dude, it's affecting my parking. Go let them live somewhere else. No, but I remember just finding it just by first time I went down. I went the wrong way on Chestnut Street and I got lost.
Yeah, it's easy to do because it's that weird hairpin type of curve thing.
Yeah.
To double
That
back.
little section of Rochester, it's almost like Boston. You ever try to find a place in Boston?
Oh, yeah.
Goodness.
It's all like crisscrossy.
Yeah, but that's always. But I know it's always good to have like a tie into a holiday with a band name. So I think you're probably pretty busy.
Oh, right. Yes, Cooper's Boomerang does have a gig on Valentine's Day, and it's at the Dinosaur.
Yep.
Yep.
And then
Isn't
we
it-
also have one on the 11th, right? So it's the 11th and the 14th.
The 11th is archive, I believe.
Yep,
That's
yep.
a Wednesday archive.
Yeah,
for
so we're
Cubits
pretty
Boomerang.
busy.
You know, you could always have like spin-off bands for holidays, like Easter's Egg and Christmas
Ah,
Tree to do holiday,
nice. I like
to do
that.
holiday gigs.
Hatching up a new plot.
But I am glad that Dinosaur's back for music. I missed that.
Yeah, a lot of people still don't know. They're and they're very glad that it is, but the word's still getting out a little
Well,
bit.
that's the thing is we'll go back to the beginning, advertising,
Right.
telling people, and I think a lot of places now put the onus on the band.
Yeah, well, I think
They do, yes.
yeah, well, people, there's so much going on. You have to keep people aware of where you
I
are.
get emails back after booking the gigs, like a couple weeks after I book them from the venue, usually saying, you working on any promotion or posters? Send them to us.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
you got to do all the work. Yes, you do.
Oh yeah, I know. A friend who
Some clubs are pretty good with advertising, but it's not like the old days of the free time. you
See,
know?
I really miss those too because
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
get
me too.
I would get my free time and I would be circling my calendar and everything about all the events and everything.
I loved it when Free Time had the musicians, the listings. And I signed up for that a couple
Yeah,
times.
I do it
and-
all online now. I usually use Get Your Gig On, which is pretty decent. I heard of another one, too. I heard it on the radio. Yeah.
There's what's
Hannah-
going on
Hannah on
tonight.
RUR. Said there was another one covering Rochester, but I've already forgotten the name of it.
Well,
But
there's
I
one
use
who's playing
Get Your Gig
tonight
On.
or something like that.
Who's playing tonight in Rochester? That is
Yeah.
Get Your Gig On.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure it
okay.
is.
What do you see for like the future for music? You just gonna keep branching out, doing wherever. Do you have like sort of a muse that just takes you one place or another?
That's kind of the way it is, and it's just reality, of my life, and just as things move along, and what I'm listening to, what's influencing me. I always like to write, but I don't write as much anymore. But when I do, I really concentrate and really try to come up with something decent. Maybe I should go back to the method of just trying to write a lot, and then maybe
know what, you could-
accidentally coming on
That's
something
what I
brilliant.
used
I
to
don't
do
know.
all the time. Is I
You
used
got to
to
keep
I
exercising
would just
your brain.
write.
Yeah.
Right.
I have like stacks and stacks of notebooks because then if it was a good idea or a bad idea, I wrote it down. But one thing for me too was like during 2020, I got all into world music and all this different kind of music too, which I think is the more you expand. That's the beauty of music. There's never an end for what you want to listen to.
No. It's,
You're always influenced
It's vast.
by everything you hear, and then kind of stuff starts rolling around in your head, and you get different styles kind of all of a sudden because, I wonder if I could do a reggae thing. Oh, I wonder if I could do this, right? And it's kind of interesting. It leads you to different places.
You know what I want to do too a little bit? Pick one song. Not that we know what we're going to play already, but just explain how it came about.
Yeah, I love
Pick
to. And,
anyone you want.
And Greg's on this one.
Pick one he's not on. I want a good one.
Oh, you're mean, man.
That's why that's why the guest is in between because we fight so much.
Why I oughta.
Well, with all this talk about original music, this tune is actually one cover on here, other than the two jazz pieces that are also covers. This is the one song that's a cover. This is a song by Gillian Welch. It's called Elvis Presley Blues. And the idea of covering this was when I heard it on the radio, for Gillian Welch and David Rawlings wrote this. It's a very haunting, slow ballad with great lyrics about Elvis Presley. And the line is, I was thinking about Elvis last night, the day he died. So it's obviously written like August or something, right? And I was in the hospital at...
Peace out, man.
I missed something. Are we going somewhere?
You were in the yeah.
Okay. For COVID.
The 2-minute warning.
In 2021. And I was listening to this tune while I was in the hospital in COVID. And then on RUR, they also played a cover version by Tom Jones, which is also very down tempo. And I thought, and I didn't like Tom. I'm a Tom Jones fan, but I didn't like his version. So I decided, maybe I should give it a shot at this song and do it completely different. Maybe turn it into something like Professor Longhair. Because Professor Longhair kind of sounded like Elvis to me.
Yeah.
So there's a connection there.
Let's be honest a little
Yeah.
bit, too. They wanted Elvis because they wanted a white boy who could sing black.
Yeah, well,
In a lot of ways,
there's a lot of aspects in the lyrics of this tune, which is the only reason why I really wanted to cover it. There's the lyrics of this tune, just a poor boy country boy who combed his hair, put on a shirt his mama made and went on the air. And there's a line about he shook it like a Harlem Queen, which is great images, great lyrics. So I just took her song and turned it into a Roomba blues a la Professor Longhair from the 50s. Maybe a song Elvis himself would have sung in his style. So I think we'll play that. Plus, we got this guy who's playing drums on
play
this.
whatever. Stay tuned. But this has been very interesting. Thanks for coming on, man. Go Vikings next year.
Go!
And the best Elvis that you could see is Bubba Hotep. Thanks a lot. Good night.
That Elvis isn't actually in. But
Bye.
Fell down and died when he shook it rain like silver, shook it and he shine like gold, shook it and he beat that stereo, baby, well bless my soul. He shook it and he beat that stereo, baby, well bless my soul. What's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree, fuzzy tree.